again, Globetrotters, and welcome back to Vlogmas. If you're new here, hi, my name is Lori, and in this community, we strive to educate, motivate, and inspire each other in all things travel related. We're going through Vlogmas up until the 24th of December, so we are down to the wire. Thank you for clicking on this channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you stay around. Make sure you click on that red subscribe button. It costs you nothing. I promise you won't get any spam mail or anything like that from me. And make sure that you click on that thumbs up button if you like the video as you're going through watching it, of course, if you like it. And then be sure to share this video with other people who may like similar content as well. In yesterday's video, I started by giving you a history of Pepperpot, what it means in the Guyanese culture, what it means to us as a Christmas dish, as the national dish of Guyana. Today, I wanted to actually talk to you guys about an article that I found that says that there is Pepperpot in Philadelphia, that it's known for Pepperpot. And I'm like, what? Pepperpot, Philadelphia? I've never heard of that, and I've lived in New York for many, many, many years. So I'm going to read that article to you, and I will, again, also link it down in the description box below for you guys so you can see that for yourself. I'll read it because I don't want to paraphrase and, say it out of turn, whatever the article says, but I'll go ahead and read it for you, and then we'll discuss. We'll also talk about the second stage of cooking the Pepperpot that you guys are here for today, and then I'll talk to you about what we're going to do tomorrow. This article is from the Word of Mouth blog published in The Guardian, which is a Philadelphian newspaper. And the title of the article is Philadelphia Pepperpot, the soup that won the American Revolution. So basically they tell a story about some desolate scene of scraps and of vegetables and making some improvised stew using tripe, which is the lining of the stomach of the cow. Then the author of the article goes into detail and says the story, though stirring, is almost certainly untrue. Pepperpot is a Caribbean dish. Yes, it is. And it may well be that slaves and freedmen brought a taste for spicy broth to Philadelphia. But Caribbean cuisine makes little use of tripe. The French, and ironically the English, are more partial to the cratered stomach lining of the cow, with its elastic texture and distinctive, not to say unpleasant, taste and smell. This last resembling ripe manure. Nonetheless, Pepperpot became as emblematic a Philly dish as cheesesteak. Philly people, let me know down in the comments. Do you know about Pepperpot? It became as emblematic a Philly dish as cheesesteak, scrapple, hoagies, and water ice. Andy Warhol used Campbell's canned version. Campbell's had a canned version of Pepperpot. In a famous 1962 painting sold 5 years ago for almost $12 million. But true tripey Pepperpot has dwindled in popularity and is now merely a curio in a few Philadelphia restaurants. And of course, I have linked this article for you from The Guardian down in the description section of this video. Interesting. I hope you learned something today because I certainly did. So I'm going to give the video a thumbs up for that. So remember, day one, we did prep and we also did tenderizing. We're going to now start to add the different flavors, a variety of flavors to our pot to make it truly be Pepperpot. And by the way, I think it goes without saying that as you're cooking this, you should be stirring your pot so that everything, keeps mixing evenly and things don't get stuck to the bottom of the pot or the flavors don't get distributed unevenly. So here you see me adding a cup of casrip to the mixture. That's about the size of the bottle that I have because I know I'll have to add water later. I just grab the 4 cups of water, pour some of it into the casrip bottle so I can shake that up and get every little drip drop out of it. I don't know how you grew up cooking, but where I grew up, it's all about getting every little bit of everything out of the container. So I shook that up really well and poured the rest of it into there so I can get all of the flavor into the pot. Now I'm going to add my 2 sticks of cinnamon, or my 2 cinnamon sticks, however you say it. Then I am counting out my cloves. I want to make sure I get 6 cloves. I don't put any extra of this because then it becomes a little bit too bitter. So I'm going to count out those 6 cloves. I'm going to close that bottle, put the cloves to the side. Now I'm reaching for a tablespoon measure so I can measure out a tablespoon of my red pepper flakes, my crushed red pepper flakes, and I'm adding that to the pot as well, sprinkling that about to the pot. I will make sure I stir that up completely afterwards, don't worry. And then my next step is to grab a tea bag, grab a food safe pair of scissors, because I'm going to cut that tea bag open like that little trick that I told you in the instructions portion. I'm cutting that tea bag open. It was just a peppermint tea bag. I'm going to empty the crushed tea leaves out of that into this little thing that I have there, because I could always use a French press and make some tea with that later. So I'm going to now put those 6 cloves that I measured out a little bit earlier, put them to the side. There are those 6 cloves. I counted them out carefully. Place them into that tea bag so that, you know, a perforated bag, it can easily get the flavors into the pot without the cloves themselves escaping and becoming bitter to the taste. And then I take a stapler and I just put 2 staples in there to secure the cloves in the tea bag, and I drop that into the pot as well. I thought I was recording when I was adding these ingredients, however, I was not, so I did these off camera. Sorry, guys. Some aromatics to add to the depth and the complexity of flavors of the pepper pot. And I stirred that up, covered it, and I'm letting that simmer. So while that simmers, I'm going to now prep my stuff for tomorrow so that I can just wake up and add what I need to add for the last bit to the pot. So I have the 6 bell peppers that I have on the ingredients list, and I have also an additional onion. Well, this onion that I'm using is a little bit of a smaller size because I used almost 2/3 of a very large onion yesterday. So I'm going to start with the onion. And by the way, I have some tips for you to make the onion not cause you to cry. You will see me cut up this entire onion and not shed a single tear. I'm not superhuman or anything, but I place the onion in the freezer for about 2 hours before I cut it up. And then I also light a flame. If you light a candle next to you, when you're cutting up the onion, something in the candle burns the chemicals, the enzymes in the air so that they don't affect you. And I also wear gloves so that the onion enzyme doesn't get onto my skin and stay with me throughout the day. That's it. And just as with the onion previously, I'm going to dice this. And then I'm going to also cut open the bell peppers, and I'm going to rinse those out off camera, rinse out the seeds from inside of them off camera. And then I'm going to dice those as well. I'm going to make those larger chunks because they can break down very easily in the final pot. And I want to make sure that I have large, colorful chunks in my pepper pot. I don't want it to just be one bland, dark pot of stew. I want there to be different colors in there. And that's why we got different colors of the bell pepper. And I'm cutting those up. And this is the size that I ended up cutting them into, these large chunks. And I'm going to do all 6 of them and place them in an airtight container in the fridge and have them ready to add to the pot tomorrow. By this time, my pot is already boiling, and so I return my attention to that. I stir this up, keep stirring it. So I lower the stove temperature to low, and I let it simmer for about 1.5 hours, and then we're done with it for today. We just let it sit there. On day 3, we're going to add the additional onions and the peppers, and then we will do our rice and our bread to go along with this. So I hope that this was helpful to you guys. I hope that you will come back tomorrow as we get some other things prepped and ready. And with pepper pot, the staler, the better. You're probably just like chomping at the bit, wondering, when are we going to eat it? At least 3 days later. I really honestly do not eat it until the day after it's done cooking. And that's why I break it up into a 3-day prep. And then the day after, when it's been sitting on the stove for a day, after everything has been added to it, that is when I eat it. And then it's just delicious. It's just absolutely scrumptious. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Again, remember, if you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Click that subscribe button. Make sure that you share this video with others who may enjoy the content as well. As always, remember to value experiences over things, because travel is the only thing you buy that truly makes you richer. Ciao.